Buenos dias, clase. I'm using this video to teach you guys about the last use of the verb estar as far as the rules go. We're talking P for position and also P for participle. Participle is the form of the verb that turns it into an adjective, and this is going to be super duper helpful later on in the year too when we get into the perfect tenses. When we say things like, for example, right now we're going to be saying the students are seated, describing them using the verb sentar, but we could say they have sat down or they have been seated, and that's going to be something we get to later in the year, which will use the same participle form. So that'll make it so much easier for us to just add to the concept later on in the year. So this is what we're looking to do. Say things like the students are seated, the book is closed, the boy is awake, the paper is written, and the book is finished. So for all these sentences, the are, the is, and the is would be a form of the verb estar. And then for these, we take the verb in the infinitive and we turn it into the participle. But these are adjectives, so we have to remember to modify them. So here's how we turn the verb into an adjective by using the participle form. So to form the participle form of the verb, if it's an AR verb, you drop the AR and you add ado. It's very similar to the ED in English. If it's an ER and an IR verb, you add ido. Now, of course, these do modify like adjectives. So ado or ados or ada or adas, depending on what you're describing. Ido becomes idos and ida and idas, depending on what you're talking about. So try these. The verb comer would obviously be comido. Now, if you want to say the pizza is eaten, you would say la pizza está comida, meaning I can't have any more because it's all eaten. Terminado, el trabajo está terminado. For example, the work is finished. Sentado, dormido, cerrado, bailado, bebido. Good news about these forms is that there are no boot verbs and there's no reflexive. So even to say the students are seated, you use the verb estar, and then you take the verb to sit and you change it into seated by constructing the participle sentado. You do not need to put the reflexive pronoun anywhere because we're turning these into adjectives. We're not really using them as verbs. Therefore, we do not have to mess with the reflexives. Los estudiantes están sentados. Notice sentados agrees with estudiantes, plural and masculine. Some examples of this: la mujer está sentada, feminine singular. El chico está sentado. Las chicas están sentadas. So notice how sentado, sentada, sentados, and sentadas. Think of them as adjectives. They must agree with what they're describing. No boot verb change. So dormir is duermo, but asleep is just dormido. Acostar is just acostado, to say that someone is rested or laid down, acostado. Pensar, if something is thought of, está pensado. So no boot verb whatsoever. So that's easy. There are some irregulars, which means there are some verbs that do not follow the rule of just dropping the AR to ado and ER and IR to ido. So there's a little song for that, to like the Frere Jacques beat, right? So it goes abierto, abierto, hecho roto, cubierto, visto, muerto, dicho, puesto, vuelto, escrito, resuelto, escrito, resuelto. So we'll practice that a bunch in class, but you need to sing it and memorize it because these are your irregulars. So abierto means open from the verb abrir. Hecho is done from the verb hacer. Roto means broken from the verb romper. Cubierto, covered from cubrir. Visto means seen from the verb ver. Muerto means dead from the verb morir. Dicho, said from decir. Puesto is put or set from the verb poner. Vuelto is returned from the verb volver. Escrito is written from escribir. And resuelto means resolved or solved from the verb resolver. So please feel free, take a minute to pause the video and write down these irregulars. Again, it's abierto, abierto, hecho roto, Hecho, roto, cubierto, visto, muerto, dicho, puesto, vuelto, escrito, resuelto, escrito, resuelto. So you can memorize them using the song. So now I'd like you to try these on your own. Use the main verb in the participle form. Make sure to modify your adjectives, and then you will show me your notes to receive homework credit. Okay, estamos listos. Gracias.